Hey gang, Rodin here. Welcome on back to the Cade and another episode of Suckerpunch Sunday. And with last week marking the end of the 6-season run of the Netflix series Cobra Kai, we figured this would be a good time to go back to 1987 and pretty much the time when the original IP that series was based on, The Karate Kid, really reached its peak. And in terms of video games, it ultimately landed on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, this is a game that could in some ways qualify for a one-day playthrough because it's not very long, but it could also qualify as a WTF Wednesday game because, as we will show over the course of about the next half an hour or so, it's not an easy game to play, it's not an easy game to beat, but in keeping with our want of highlighting fighting or fighting platform-based games from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation, we figured this was as good a time as any. So, this game was created, like we said, in 1987. It was published through LJN, but was actually created by Atlas. And if that game developer means anything to you, this was actually the second game they ever developed for any video game console. The first happened to be a little-known game called Megami Tensei, which, over the course of the ensuing 35 years, was ultimately developed into an extremely popular role-playing game, Japanese role-playing game series called Shin Megami Tensei. Atlas is also the company that brought you Persona in all of its variations. So it's come a long way since, 36, 37 years from now? But what we're going to do is we're just going to go and jump into a standard one-player game, and you'll see how this works. Now, this starts... And if I can pause this really quick. So, this game follows the history of the first movie, the chronology of the first movie, and the second movie, which the original Karate Kid came out, if I remember right, in 1985-86. Starred Ralph Macchio and the late, great Noriyuki Pat Morita. And it is all about Daniel LaRusso learning how to defend himself and ultimately going to the All-Valley Karate Tournament where he has to fight the opposing members of the Cobra Kai dojo, hence why that's the name of the Netflix series, if you're not familiar with all this. And then Karate Kid 2, Daniel and Miyagi, Pat Morita's character, go back to his home in Okinawa and have a bit of an adventure there. So in order to get through this first level, there's only 4 levels in this game, you have to go all the way through the All-Valley Karate Tournament and beat the members of the Cobra Kai to win. So it's pretty straightforward. Your A button is punch, your B button is kick, and then it's a matter of how you hold the directional pad that will allow you to perform certain moves. Now, you see our life bar at the top, and then in the right side you see our score, and then you see C and D. C equals the number of times we can perform the crane kick, which is Daniel's most devastating move in the first movie. And then the D stands for the drum punch, which is the all-conquering move he learns in the second movie. So we have to make sure we can hold on to as many of those as we can, because we don't get them back between fights. And we only get 3 opportunities. We basically get 3 lives to get through this entire tournament. So we'll see if we can do that on this first go. And this goes pretty quick. And as you see, the crane kick is really... like, I took his life down in 2 swings. But I got to be careful that I don't use it too much. So we already go through 2 guys. Now we're at the semifinals. We still have 3 chances to get through this. And we lost. We came up a little short. So we end up using all of our crane kicks, but now we're at the finals. And as you see, this final guy is a lot stronger than the other guys, because it's Johnny Lawrence, who is the other guy played by William Zabka in the series Cobra Kai. But we managed to beat him. And we did it without the crane kicks. So now we have 1 life to get through all of this. So now we're in Okinawa. And these guys only require 1 hit to take down. But we just got throttled there because we got sandwiched between both guys. And just like that, it's game over. So it does not take very much to end up having to start all over again. And there aren't any continues in this game. So I don't have any reference to how this game was ranked, because again, it's a 37-year-old video game. So your results may vary. But I remember at the time, this was not a highly thought of game because of the way it's constructed. Now you can chalk that up to LJ or to Atlas and their naivete and their relative inexperience in creating games like this. But this game was also produced by LJN. Now, LJN was an American toy company that started in the 60s and shifted into video games in the 80s and really took a huge gamble by the early 90s, where they pretty much dissolved their entire toy division to focus on video games. The problem is that they made a lot of games that not a lot of people liked. But we tore through the tournament, which is good because we still have 2 opportunities to get through Okinawa. But if you look at the list of the... There we go, we got a crane kick back. If you look at the list of the all-time unpopular and maligned Nintendo Entertainment System games, games like Karate Kid and Friday the 13th, which we also profiled, are all LJN games, and they're not considered either popular or well-liked in the canon of great NES games. Now, they're going to let me get up this platform. There we go. And every time we get a crane kick back, we get a little extra life, which is good. Now, that woman we rescued is basically Daniel-san's girlfriend that he got in the second movie. Now we got this thing where we have to go and catch flies with chopsticks, which is a test for your reflexes. We got 1. So we got 3. We got 1 crane kick and 1 drum punch. See if we can get to the end of the level here. I think these guys are either chucking vegetables at us or something. I think we got an extra guy. But as you see, the hitbox for getting these guys is not quite so easy. Gotta get that. Swinging hammer. Well, that wasn't helpful. So if I remember right, we have to jump the swinging hammer. Alright, so now we have chosen. And that big swing I gave him was the drum punch. Oh, we almost got there too. So we dodged it twice. Although we didn't get anything out of that, which sucked. Could have used that crane kick. Like, really? These guys just would not go away. It's so easy to get overwhelmed. Now I gotta really hope that these guys will show up enough that I can start getting another crane kick and then get a little bit more health. Now you can kind of kite these guys. I didn't realize I can get in here and get a chance for more stuff. We got 3 more, which gives us another crane kick and another drum punch. Now we can come this way. Ah, but Chosen got us again. Let's see if we can't get through this second level. And now we have the ice block break. We got 1 crane kick and 2 drum punches. Alright, now I gotta save the drum punches for getting to Chosen, because if I can hit him with both. There we go. So, being able to have the crane kicks and the drum punches is really, really important the further through the game you go, because it'll allow you to take down the bosses really quick. Now, we're at the point in the movie where Daniel has to go rescue his girlfriend in the midst of a typhoon. So it's the same level, but we got to deal with more wind and other stuff that's flying at us, and fighting all these guys off. And this is probably the hardest level in the entire game, if I'm honest. Because we have more stuff to duck. Even though by the time we get to the final level, all of the henchmen take 2 shots to put down instead of the usual 1. Alright, so now we get the swinging hammer again. But we didn't dodge it enough to get any bonus. So I think we rescued a helpless bystander, but then we fell into the drink. And this is where it gets really frustrating, is because in this level, being able to jump over those gaps is even more important, and Daniel-san is not built like Mario. He is not capable of jumping in a way that allows you to navigate those obstacles very easily, because you have to hit the up button in order to jump. So you have to go up and point in a direction all at the same time. And now, of course, we start back here at the tournament. And we lose in the first round. So if we ration our crane kicks again... Well, we're going to get one crack at Johnny before we run out of life, and we didn't get there because, of course, he swept the leg. But we managed to beat him without the crane kick. So now we're back in Okinawa. And we've got to navigate through this whole second level again. And now we get the swinging hammer one more time. Let's see if we can actually... Nope. So I think it picks up a little bit of speed as it's about 2/3 of the way through that test. And it is annoying that even though you just use standard A and B for punch and kick... Holy cow! We got absolutely throttled there. If it wasn't just the two guys that we could not hit, it was everything else coming at us. It was them slinging produce at us, basically. Alright, so now we're back to Johnny. We've got half life, but no more crane kicks. And no surprise, he took us out with that one. And he got us with that one. And we finally get through it, so we now once again have one shot to get through this entire level. But that the controls auto default to the crane kick or the drum punch if you have access to it is actually really annoying. Because it means you cannot save them. You've got to be able to, you just burn through them as soon as you have them. Needed that. Alright, now if I can just burn through these guys enough and get my health back, would be nice. The kicks tend to work more effectively than the punches, I find. Okay. Well, we have 5 of them. So we got 2 crane kicks, 3 drum punches. But we're almost toast anyway. We have full health recharge, which is nice, and a crane kick back. We tore through most of the ice. We get 2 more crane kicks and 3 drum punches. So we broke 5 of the 6 ice blocks. And give us another crane kick. Quit slinging cabbages at me. Needed that pickup. As well as that one. Ah, burning drum punches. I don't want to do that. I need to save those for Chosen. Alright, now we got the swinging hammer again. And I jumped too early and immediately got knocked in the drink. Alright, give me one more guy here and I should be able to get another crane kick. And a combination crane kick and drum punch, and down he goes. So now we're back to stage 3. We have 2 characters left. We have 2 chances now instead of 1. I think we just got a 3rd one. And we gotta duck the swinging hammer one more time. We do have to jump it. We can't duck it. I tried to actually squat down, and it wouldn't let me. Now that guy who was draped over this piece of house, if I remember right, is Miyagi's rival, which is why we came back to Okinawa in the first place. Oh, we got a drum punch. Ah, I couldn't rescue her in time. Alright, so we got 2 chances remaining. Well, and really? You put me right there? How stupid is that? Tell you, this game is murder on your thumbs with how much you have to mash the D-pad. There, go away. And we have the swinging hammer yet again. So it seems fairly random the amount of times you have to do these tests. Chucking more cabbage at me. Quit it. And we get the swinging hammer again. Well, we dodged it, but we didn't get enough for a bonus. How does that work? Ah, and into the drink we go. And that's game over, which is fine because we're actually at about 30 minutes anyway. So, that, everybody, is the Karate Kid from 1987, produced by LGN along with Atlas, back when they were still very, very new on the block. And the obvious question is this a good game? I used to think back in the day that you could turn a bad game into a good game if you beat it. I'm not that naive anymore, and I cannot objectively call this a good game. It's definitely got its flaws. And like I said, it's part of the legacy of LJN as a video game company that they didn't seem interested in putting together games that were really functional. They were more interested in getting the licenses and getting the money that parents would shell out to their kids for games like this. And like I said, they also created Friday the 13th. They did a Marvel game, if I remember back in the day. LJN did quite a few different video game franchises, but none of them were good. And that's the thing, is that they were so bent on making sure that they could capitalize on those licenses to make money that they didn't really care if what they made was of any value. So if you take into account all the stuff that they did, they started with Gotcha. They did another game which we did a WTF Wednesday of, which was the game Jaws. They did this when The Karate Kid. They did Back to the Future, Friday the 13th, NFL, The Uncanny X-Men, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Amazing Spider-Man, Nightmare on Elm Street. Do you see a pattern here? They went and got big-named Hollywood franchises or big-name sports franchises and tried to undercut, in terms of value, what you could get out of those IP. And they failed tremendously. To the point where by the end of 2000, by 1994, Acclaim had bought LJN and shuttered it. So their legacy is not of quality, but of really bad quantity. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Is this a game they could make today? They could, but I think the only issue now is that because the Netflix series, which really sparked the nostalgia back for the original movie and actually the original trilogy of movies, because they did do a third Karate Kid as well. I think that came out in 89. It just did not... I think now it's too late if they wanted to do something with it. And also, with the amount of other titles that are out there, where would you find a spot for this? The Karate Kid was the perfect movie for kids my age who grew up in the 80s. It was in a lot of ways, it was designed to be kind of a Rocky movie for kids. An underdog who nobody thought much of, had somebody take him under their wing, taught him what he needed to, and he went on to become basically a heroic character. If you tried to make something like this in a video game nowadays, you could do it, but what are the chances that it would be successful? And right now, video game companies can't afford to do that. So, if you're nostalgic and you want to give this a go, it's not hard to find online. You can play it on pretty much any emulator. I'm, as usual, using the Mesen emulator, M-E-S-E-N, which is a free emulator. And if you had experience with this back in the day, let me know down in the comments below. If you managed to beat it, let me know in the comments below. I'd be genuinely curious about it. I think in all the years I played this, I only got through the entire game once. And as we said at the top, you can beat it in less than a half an hour. It's not going to make it easy for you. The controls are really wonky. You burn through special moves whether you want to use them or not. And it ups the degree of difficulty on both fronts to get through what's only a 4-level game. They don't make games this small anymore. They really don't. So, but that, everybody, again, is Suckerpunch Sunday for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you would like to be able to support the channel, you know how to do that by now. Don't forget to check out our ongoing playthrough, of Super Robot Wars Alpha Guide. That will pick up again tomorrow, as well as our usual Star Wars Sports Saturday, which we played NHL 2K6 yesterday. We are, if you haven't been following along, we are going to restart Sega NFL 2K2, but that will kick off Season 2, quite literally, once we get through Thanksgiving and into the early part of December. Be sure to follow us on social media through Instagram and Threads. Everyone in Retrocade, help spread the word about us as we continue to build this channel and make it bigger and better. Also, watch this space because we are in the process of getting things set up for us on Blue Sky. We'd rather be ahead of the social media curve than behind it, which is why we're not on Twitter or legacy social media anymore. So we're looking always to try and find a way to keep ahead of that and get new people to check us out. But that's enough talking for one Sunday. My name is Ronan. It's been great to spend this time with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We'll talk to you tomorrow as we dive back headlong into Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden. Bye.